Okay, we've got breaking news. DA Fani Willis just finished testifying about misconduct allegations against her in the Georgia Trump 2020 case. The judge says it could disqualify her. Let's bring in for his reaction Washington Times opinion editor Charlie Hur. Charlie, what do you make of this? This was very combative testimony on the part of Fani Willis.
Yeah, it really was. I don't think she did herself any favors. The whole office looks pretty hapless. And, I think it's kind of interesting that every one of these locations, with the exception of Florida, where you have prosecutors going after President Trump, you've got them in Fulton County, Georgia, you've got them in Washington, D.C., and New York City. These are pretty lawless places where prosecutors do not do a very good job of addressing actual crimes that actual people care about. And again, with the exception of Florida, it really does, and all of this testimony today, it raises a question about what these people's priorities are. The second thing is listening to her talk about her inability to establish any records for anything. It really does make you wonder how people in Fulton County, the leadership of Fulton County, Georgia, runs an election.
Yeah, Charlie, let's move on to this. What do you make of Special Counsel Robert Hur? He's in talks with Congress to possibly testify before House Judiciary, that's what we're hearing, in early March. Does the Biden 2024 campaign really want a public testimony on Hur's report detailing why he said the president was mentally not fit, has diminished faculties, willfully kept and retained U.S. secrets? Biden is polling the worst since Eisenhower.
Yeah, I think that it would be a disaster for them. Obviously, they do not want that. And the more obvious reason is because they don't want another several news cycles talking about, Joe Biden's own Justice Department talking about how mentally incompetent the president is. And when the White House complains about the fact that Hur went into all of that, let's not forget, the only reason the report went into that was to explain why they weren't pressing charges despite the mountains of evidence. But there's another reason that I think that the Biden campaign really doesn't want to see this happen, and that is that the Republicans are also looking at other records regarding China and Ukraine and Russia that were uncovered in this investigation that leads to much bigger questions beyond just his mental incapacity.
It has to do with the Biden family deal making overseas. You know, Charlie, when you experience and feel what's going on, it feels like a second term of a beleaguered and fatigued and tired out presidency. This is happening in a first term. It feels like a second term. The second term, stuff boils up. Now NBC is reporting President Biden lashed out at Special Counsel Hur for, quote, daring to bring up his late son, Beau, in that interview with the special counsel team. But it was President Biden himself who brought it up, not Robert Hur's team. And he forgot when his son, Beau, died. Listen to the president again. Watch.
How in the hell dare he raise that? Frankly, when I was asked the question, I thought to myself, it wasn't any of their damn business.
Okay. He brought it up, though. But the president, the first lady, Democrats, the media, attacking Robert Hur over this. And now the White House is asking reporters to reframe their coverage on the special counsel report, sending a letter to the White House Correspondents Association about it, saying they're supposedly misstating the findings from the report.
Yeah, I've never seen, I've covered the White House for a long time. I've never seen anything like that letter to the White House Correspondents Association, basically a cease and desist letter telling reporters not to report on what it is that they're reporting, as if somehow the press hasn't been fairly in the bag for Joe Biden all along, even before the 2020 election.
All right, Charlie Hur, you were terrific. Thanks for taking on all those different topics. We appreciate you.